Okay. Hope everyone is doing well this Wednesday evening. I'm going to make sure audio levels are where they need to be. It sounds like they are. We've got a little action in terms of rain in our forecast, so I wanted to hop on to the digital sphere and realms and talk about this in a little longer format. It's a good news type of forecast. We never want to turn rain away when we have the opportunity to get it. And the little disturbance that we've been watching for a while, the possibility of development in the Gulf of Mexico, it looks like it's trending down. Both of those things are good. It's good news for us. So I'm going to let people join up on this Facebook Live. When the weather's not terribly menacing, try not to jump onto this thing, but with rain coming in, it looks like for the weekend, there's outdoor plans. Just want to talk about how that may affect those plans. So we'll get started here with the weather graphics and the maps. Move off this slate, this weather chat slate. You know what? I'm going to have to go and change something really quick. Got to go back to the other computer. 1 second. Okay. Got the maps up now. I had to switch a setting over there in the weather center. So, the tropics, they're active. We've got two systems in the Atlantic, another one that's a depression in the Pacific, and that 30% hatched area in the Gulf of Mexico. Kirk is a major hurricane. It's a big storm. It's a strong storm, Category 3. That will not be affecting anybody in the U.S. That is not a problem for the U.S. with respect to direct impacts. It will send longer period swells, wave swells toward the Atlantic coastline, but as far as direct impacts go, Kirk, not an issue. We've also got Tropical Depression number 13. That storm is going to follow Kirk, so not a problem. That name is probably going to be Leslie, the L name storm. She didn't look, yeah. And thankfully, Leslie, if that is the name it takes, which it probably will not be a problem for the U.S. either. But the 30% chance for development in the Gulf of Mexico, just talk about some of the reasoning, behind not necessarily why it won't develop. I'm still not totally convinced of that. But the direction that whatever this is eventually goes shouldn't be problematic for us. So the setup right now, it's interesting. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of nuances that are going to be coming our way in the forecast. And instead of showing all of these different weather variables, like upper level energy, surface moisture, moisture throughout the atmosphere, rainfall, all these things, simulated radar, simulated wind, I want to just make a straight up custom scratch forecast map that shows exactly the thoughts and the way I think it's going to play out. So the remnants of Helene, that is off the Atlantic, due east of the Carolinas, just north of Bermuda. That's the spin, the residual spin from Helene. And the stationary boundary, remember last week we got that front It's been pretty nice here. It was really nice over the weekend, the drier air. That front is hanging out in the Gulf of Mexico, and stationary boundaries during hurricane season, they can try and initiate some spin up. So the Bay of Campeche down in the southwestern Gulf, our wind contours at least show a little hint of some spin off the tail end of that front. Will that develop into anything? The Hurricane Center says decreasing odds. It was at 50% over the weekend, 40% yesterday, today, now down to 30%. But it's worth watching, not because it's a threat here, but because how that system develops may have a little play on the eventual outcome of our forecast. So we've got that stationary boundary. This is where I just start drawing myself how I view the outcome of the next 5 days or so. High pressure is going to be over near Cuba, and the clockwise flow around that high will be what sends the moisture to the east and sends whatever this disturbance is to the east. That's really the steering that's helping guide this system in that direction. There's also some upper level flow in the northern Gulf that's also moving west to east. So the atmosphere is wanting to send any and all things in the Gulf to the east. As we move into the weekend, that same front that came through here last week will work northward as a broad disturbance, probably a weak disturbance, gets into the Gulf of Mexico. There's going to be a big plume of moisture with it. And as that front moves north of the area late Friday and into Saturday, that's when we'll start seeing our rain chances go up. And that rain chance will include a lot of the Gulf Coast, not only in Texas, but the northern Gulf Coast and a lot of Florida going to be included in this moisture rise that'll come as that front lifts to the north. At the same time on Saturday, upper level energy will be in a place, South Texas, maybe the Rio Grande Valley, in a place like that where it encourages lift or rising air, and you get moisture plus rising air. It's usually a good signal for rain. It's a good recipe for rain production. So that's why Saturday, I think, is looking like the most likely day for what I think right now is going to be scattered activity. I'm not totally convinced that it might not be more than that. It could be a little bit more on the coverage. I'm going to wait till tomorrow to really start putting rain total forecast out, because I do think that there's a possibility that more moisture builds in here. And I think a lot of that logic has to do on Saturday, especially with how defined that system in the middle of the Gulf is, or how defined it is not. If it's a really loose system and there's not a whole lot of spin to it, we'd probably get more moisture in. If there is some spin, some circulation, it would want to pull the moisture away from us. So I'm not totally convinced on that aspect of the forecast, which is going to then alter how much moisture is here, which then alters how much rain to expect. So there's a bunch of dominoes, right, that need to fall before I start talking about the rain totals. It could be anywhere from 1/10 of an inch to several inches of rain at this point, depending on how all of that plays out. So that's Saturday. On Sunday and Monday, this starts to pull more to the east. That upper level influence that'll be over a Saturday starts to move to the south. So the moisture starts pulling away and the lift starts moving south. I still think we do see widely scattered showers on Sunday, but by Monday and Tuesday, whatever that disturbance is, probably a weaker system, a little tropical low, a tropical disturbance. I'm not going to call it a depression or a storm or a hurricane. It's just a little disturbance that'll be working in the direction of southeastern parts of the U.S. and Florida. That's into early next week. And, you know, this also is contingent on how much spin that system is bringing, but it looks like that counterclockwise flow around the disturbance will help tap into some drier and slightly cooler air that'll be parked to the north of here, and it'll help pull that farther south. And, you know, that's why I think, you know, we get into the drier air, a little pseudo cold front into early next week, while the southeast is getting, you know, drenched with several inches of rainfall. This front, if you think back to last week and kind of where we are right now, the way Helene helped push that air for Texas, the dry air southward, it's a similar type of deal, although not to the level of Helene, obviously. I don't think we see anywhere close to that level of storm, but that general setup is going to be similar heading into early next week. Look at the rainfall footprint and you can easily see where the moisture's going, right? It's going to go toward Florida, and they could easily see, you know, some places could get up near a half a foot of rain through the middle of next week, whereas you look at the Texas Gulf Coast and those rainfall totals, the projections, this is from the Weather Prediction Center, you know, they drop off really quickly. I didn't put numbers on the map for Texas because I'm not totally sure on exactly how much moisture will be in, but this forecast is showing, you know, really through Sunday, like a quarter to a half inch of rain. That's what this is showing through Sunday. So it could be more, it could be a little less, but I'm going to hold off on the specific numbers locally probably until tomorrow. So given that, you know, the rain chances as we start to make plans heading into the weekend, Friday night football, I do think that there is a possibility for a few of the games to have to deal with a passing shower on Friday night. I don't think it's a rainout type of thing, but it's possible that there are some showers floating around on Friday night. Saturday, you know, the station, Channel 3, we've got a big team that we've assembled for the Heart Walk, benefiting the American Heart Association, downtown Corpus Christi, Whataburger Field. That's going to be Saturday morning, and, you know, I'm telling our team, may not want to wear the nice walking shoes. Maybe take some shoes out that you don't mind getting a little bit soggy. Not because it's a slam dunk guarantee, but because it's possible that there are some showers around into Saturday morning. I don't think it's going to be, you know, at this point, at least to the level of, oh, we're not going to do this event because it's just raining nonstop. But I do think being aware that there is a shower chance, you know, that's a smart play if you're going to be going out to something like that, or really anything outdoors on Saturday. Not going to be raining all day. May only rain once in your location, but I do think that there's a rain chance, and it's a notable one on Saturday. And that might be going up depending on, it's really the European model. That model is not wanting to divvy out a ton of moisture here. But if I see that model trend the other way, and where it does push a bunch of moisture in, catches up with the GFS and some of the other guidance I'm seeing, if the European trends, you know, toward a wetter look, then we'll raise the ante there on the rain chances. But right now it's just hit and miss stuff. And if we do raise it any more than where it is right now, we'll probably go weather impact alert for Saturday. But we're not there yet with respect to the coverage on that rain chance. And with respect to the coverage, right now, it basically looks like coastal counties would be in line for the more frequent shower or thunderstorm activity late Friday, but more so into Saturday. As you get more removed from the Gulf, the odds are going to be going down. Still some isolated stuff, but I don't think the chance looks as robust as you work farther in and away from the coast. With the rain, will come humidity. We were talking about that front working north of the area starting really Friday afternoon and evening. That's when we're going to start to feel that little uptick in the humidity levels of the atmosphere. Our Muggy meter is based on dew point, and I think that's the best way of depicting how it feels outside. That dew point number is it's an excellent metric to be looking at for the way it feels. And that will spike Saturday. Sunday it stays humid, but that moisture will be pulling away. And then early next week we start getting into the drier air. And that's when it's going to feel nicer again, kind of the way it did Friday and into Saturday, Sunday. So we started feeling a lot nicer with the lack of humidity, even though temperatures were still in the middle to lower 90s. It'll be the same type of deal heading into early next week. So we've got the 90s in play tomorrow. We hit 94 today. We've got 93 tomorrow. So above average through Friday. The 80s Saturday and Sunday, that's more of an acknowledgement of the rain chances that we've got. So I do think it'll be, 3 or 4 degrees less hot over the weekend because of the rain chances. And then we get back into the 90s early next week, which is above the seasonal average for the time of year. Highs tend to be in the mid to upper 80s in early parts, the first third of October. And, I think this front is going to be more so felt at night, where we get a little more relief during the overnight hours. So we get back into the 60s heading into next, Tuesday night and into Wednesday. And that would be behind that, what I'm calling like a pseudo cold front. This is how it looks on the 7-day. Friday, daytime hours, I think rain's going to be pretty sparse, but after sundown, about the times the games, start getting going, there may be some shower activity. And really the threat there isn't rain, it's more so lightning. So the lightning chance doesn't look huge on Friday, but Saturday at this point, I think that's the best chance for rain over the next 7 days for sure. More of a hit and miss flavor there, 50-50 on who gets it, who doesn't, and those odds are going to be more so focused in coastal counties. Sunday, widely scattered stuff. I think by Monday we're pretty much done with the rain, and then that front comes in and it's going to give us that nicer weather. So we'll try to, this one wasn't a hugely attended Facebook streaming here, as I'd expect, as the weather's been so nice. People aren't really too amped on it right now. But time is just after 9 o'clock Wednesday, October the 2nd. That's when this was live. If you're watching it at any other time, it's not live and real time, but it's hard to know when people are going to watch these things when they live on the internet forever. So with that, we'll keep updating over the next few days. I'd say if you have outdoor plans this weekend, I know Rudy and I are going out golfing we're going to be golfing on Saturday, and, we're still going to do it, but we know that there is that threat for rain, so waterproof shoes, just have that rain gear ready to go so you can handle it if you do catch one of those showers. Carly's off. Kristen will be here in the morning, and she'll have updates as we head toward the weekend, as will I the next couple of days. So hope you've been doing well. It's been a long time since we've checked in on this. And Space Station Pass the last 2 nights been great. We've been talking about that on the air. And the comet that's also been visible. There's some information on my Facebook page about that. It's going to come back into the middle of October. We'll be talking about that as those days start to get closer. All right, we'll see you all about an hour for our 10 o'clock news.